Paul in Winnipeg, Canada asks, what do you believe Scripture is teaching about Christ's descent to the dead mentioned in the Apostles' Creed and in the early Church Fathers' dialogue? A descent into Sheol or Hades? Or is it, as some translations of the Creed put it, a descent into hell? And perhaps you could comment on the scriptural passage that's based on as well.
Yes, the idea of Jesus descending into Sheol or into the abode of the dead is based on 1 Peter.
And this is after the crucifixion that this is generally seen.
Yes, that after Jesus has died, then kind of where is he for the next 36 hours sort of thing. And in Luke it says that he says to the brigand, today you will be with me in paradise. So how does that work? Part of our problem here is that we don't have, again, good English words to name what they meant much more vaguely by Sheol or Hades or whatever. This is an arm-waving sort of language about gone to the place of the dead. And if we say descent into hell, then you could say, and some Christian traditions have said this, that this is the so-called harrowing of hell, that he goes down to hell in order to say, okay, guys, it's all over, coming up out of here. If you look at Greek Orthodox icons of the resurrection, it's Jesus leading Adam and Eve out of the underworld. Now, there's all sorts of things going on there, which I don't think the New Testament is talking about, because in 1 Peter, it talks about Jesus going to preach to the spirits in prison. And then there's a couple of passages there. There's one in 1 Peter 3, when he goes and preaches, 1 Peter 3:19, preaches to the people who formerly didn't obey when God's patience waited in the days of Noah. Looks as though this is referring to those very strange creatures in the early chapters of the book of Genesis who were particularly wicked, and as though Jesus has gone down to tell them, right, your doom is nigh. In other words, this isn't preaching in the sense of persuading them to believe or anything like that. This is telling them the final battle has been won and you lost. And then, however, in 1 Peter 4:6, it says, this is why the gospel was preached to the dead, so that though judged like humans in the flesh, they might live in the spirit according to God. Now, that's a very odd passage. I don't claim to know exactly what Peter meant or how we should then interpret it. But I think there's been quite a good amount of work done, theologians like von Balthasar in the last century, exploring the mystery of Holy Saturday, the mystery of the day between Good Friday and Easter. What do we say about God, about Jesus? And many have said something about that whole drama is that Jesus takes the loving presence of God down to the very deepest that human horror and anguish can go. And that's an image I think I can relate to, even though I wouldn't stress it, because that doesn't seem to me where the New Testament itself lays the weight.